Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the China Innovation Decoded. I'm your host, Summer Xia. This week, we have prepared a very special panel discussion for you on the topic of AI for good. Technology, as we all know, can be used in many ways and sometimes even abused. It is not unusual that some people might use the technology in ways that are detrimental to the society. Today, we have invited startup founders in our portfolio, Perspicace and NextVPU, and also joining us, managing partner from Chengwei Capital. And we had a discussion on the meaning of AI for good, the foreseeable future of AI, and how it is shaping our society today. Welcome everyone to this week of AI for Good podcast series. At Microsoft, we're always paying a lot of attention to AI for good, and today we have invited two of our Microsoft for Startups companies who are focusing on these areas, and also here with us, Mr. Gu, managing partner from Chengwei Capital. So first I want to get to know each of you a little bit before we dive into deeper questions. So let's start with you, Ken.
Thank you, Summer, and good afternoon. And very happy to have this opportunity to let people know a little bit about the things we are doing right now. The company that I'm managing called Perspicace is coming from French, Insight. Actually, the things we are doing right now is we created a kind of AI-based Wi-Fi biosensor, which can detect people's micro movements based on wireless technology, which is more effective and more accurate than camera and can protect the privacy very well.
Okay, what about you, Hugo?
Hi, Summer. I come from NextVPU. NextVPU means Next Vision Power Unlimited, and we are AI chips company and who builds AI chips, and also we will provide some AI hardware products. For example, we build smart glasses for vision impaired people.
Mm-hmm. And Richard?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Summer, for the opportunity to participate this podcast. My name is Richard, and I'm a partner with a venture capital firm here based in Shanghai called Chengwei Capital. And we growth stage venture fund focus on Great China related opportunity. We have a wide range of the targets we are looking for to support from the education, TMT, and the industrial. And AI-related opportunity is certainly an area that we focus, in the last couple years as well as going forward. So very looking forward to today's opportunity to exchange ideas and insights with everyone.
Yeah, wonderful. So I guess I will start just by asking this, what is AI for good in your opinion? Maybe Hugo and Ken, you could talk about what you are doing right now in your company, because this is the area that you're focusing on right now. And I know that NextVPU is doing a lot for the visually impaired. Ken, you're doing a lot of that is helping the elder care. So I want to hear about that as well. And Richard, I definitely want to hear about your views on if there's something that when you're investing you're looking into, what is your main focus right now?
To me, the AI for good means that to protect and services. I started this project because I have a very sad story of myself. Is almost 5 years before, my very old grandmother, who is over than 90 years old, in one midnight falling down from the bed on the ground. At that time, the auntie is not in that room, so nobody knows that. She has to lay in the ground for over than 6 hours until the morning that people found her and sent her to the hospital. So till today, she has to stay in the hospital and can never go back to warm home. This gave me because I growing up with my grandmother. So it is a very big issue to me. I'm looking for a technology which can do this kind of detection to protect, especially for the old people, never happen this accident again. I know that there's over than 2.5 billion old people in China, and a lot of them are staying home alone. And how can we help them with AI? So that's the reason why I start this to developing this Wi-Fi biosensor. As long as you have a wireless signal in this area, and our AI can learn and detect all the micro movements and the human body's status accordingly. Thanks for the 5 million, data that AI already learned. Right now, we can already detect human beings' movements in a very, very high accuracy rate. In some particular scenario, it can reach 99%, especially when you have a falling down or you got some heart attack, and the heartbeat is stopped or breath stop. Our AI can immediately send emergency message automatically to the emergency people. So this is the things we are doing right now. We want to using this technology to provide better, services to save more old people in future. So this is the things we are doing right now for old people.
Yeah. So we are a venture capital firm. So we look for opportunities. We try to say not specifically looking for AI for the sake of just being an AI company, right? So we want to, when we talk with the founders, we're trying to understand by leveraging AI, they're attempting to solve a real business problem. And there's a problem represents a must-have requirements versus just a nice to have, right? And then obviously there are a lot of the examples that the AI technology can be applied to those. Maybe I'm just thinking using one of our portfolio example. The company is called Xcraft in Guangzhou. The Chinese name is called Jifei. It is actually now the largest drone company focused on the agriculture industry. And when it started, it was solving one simple problem. The Chinese farmers are facing a significant shortage of the labor. The young people, they moved to the big cities, and so the countryside are left with the elders, right? And a simple task of spraying the fertilizers. It's one is it's because of the shortage of the labor. Two is the fertilizer spray is influenced by the weather, the wind, the temperature, and all these factors, right? So that's where really the AI, obviously the drone is the equipment itself, but there's a algorithm in our system to continue to learn. For example, if it's a certain crop that the drone need to reach the best effect of the fertilizer, is it should fly at a certain height. If the wind is towards the north side, and you need to adjust the speed and all these, right? So that's something that a normal human being is very difficult to achieve, and that's where we can bring real benefits to those agricultural needs, right? So that's just one example that we're looking for. Not an easy task, because it's a loads of the trial and error, and the deep learning is not learning just in the lab. It's actually need to be learned and improved over multiple iterations in the field, right? So that's kind of one example I like to share.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So another question for you, Richard. So is there a conflict between applying AI for good and profitability?
It's not an easy question to answer, but yeah, it is true that sometimes when we're looking the target to invest, we need to make assessment on the we call the TAM, total addressable market, right? And that represents the commercial value of certain applications. In some use cases, it's a profitable business, but it may not be as attractive for particularly the large venture capital firm, to invest, right? Back to if in the early stage deal, back to my earlier point on, we need to first make assessment, is this company trying to solve a real issue? If it's a real issue, that generally means there's a commercial value, right? If it's a real issue, but there's no commercial value, and that kind of by itself, it's in conflict, right? So the next obviously is really you make assessment of whether that's a niche problem, maybe only a subset of the commercial value of a larger, larger kind of area. And yeah, so it's difficult to give a straight answer on that question, but we do the check and balance, on that. Yeah, yes.
You look at the whole picture.
Yes.
Awesome. I guess a question for Hugo. I guess what's the trend that's in like the area in China? I know that in countries like Germany, for example, there's always been a strong focus for providing those that are like impaired with ways in which they can navigate society and their daily challenges. So how is that different in China? And what does your company do for like the positive change?
Now we have more and more old people, especially in China. So the whole society, including the government, pay more attention to them. And also in this time, and companies such as startup companies like us are trying to use advanced technology to try to resolve some problems. According to our work, and we are able to use our technology to resolve some of the problems. And also we are receiving some positive feedback. For example, we can use our Android smart reader to help them to read, and they like such product. So we believe that there is a good time for us to provide such technology and to resolve the real issues, just like Richard said. But we still wish to have more and more companies and people, and also provide more support or pay more attention to this area. And I think that's a big problem our government, especially Chinese government, is trying to resolve.
Mm-hmm. Great. I know you and Ken you are both talking about the elder care. So I was wondering if it's in like older audience, is there any like skepticism of like how AI could help them here? Because unlike the young people, they might like refuse this high like technology.
So basically, I think the good technology is the technology that you will never feel it. You can live in your daily life cycle without notice that technology. That is the things that we are doing right now. Thinking about, actually at this moment, you have a lot of which we call wearable devices that provided to old people, but that is not a good point because old people, basically they will forget things. They will forget to charge the battery. Once they take a shower, they will forget to, wear the devices back, and they don't feel how do you say, they don't feel very happy to wear these kind of stranger things, and to control it, you might have a lot of different kind of steps. They need to learn a lot of different kind of stuff. They need to learn how to using the application. So it will be too hard for them. I want to create a very nature environment that these old people will never feel that we already have this technology. We only show this technology, we only show the message to the people who can help them. So I think our technology at this moment already reached that level, and easy for old people to use, and never bring troubles to them, and to try to solve their pain point, which is actually very important for us.
Wonderful. So another question for the three of you. As we all know that AI can be misused by like authorities and others who have like easy access to them. So like principles for them must be established. So how do we manage the risks associated with AI?
Well, actually, I would always be challenged by investors about this question because, well, you have this technology. Basically, you can know everything, at your home. So how can you protect the human's privacy? That's a very, very important issues, actually. The things we're doing right now is, first, it is very specific technology. It doesn't like a camera or a microphone. It not catch the direct, which we call the direct data, okay? So it only analyzes the noises signal, which means to human being, it's just meaningless. Nobody knows what's going on there. Even if you have a very powerful computer, but you don't have our AI, you will never know, what's happened in the room. So this is the first things we are doing right now. The data itself is quite safe. And the second thing is, actually, we are not link our data to a specific, human being itself. We only to provide what's going on in this area. We only let people know what happened in this particular environment, and then let human beings themselves to handling the issues after. I raise an example, for example, that we provide this technology to some luxury hotel. Because when you stay in hotel, you always be, annoyed by the housekeeping department. And the housekeepers in the morning always knocking your door. When you still, falling asleep in bed, or you take shower, they knock on the door, nobody answered, and coming into the room, it brings you a lot of service problems. So we provide this technology to some luxury hotel to let housekeeping department know whether you have people inside or not. But by doing that, we are not link this sensitive data with the hotel PMS system, which means that I never know who is staying in this room. I just provide the status of the room to the housekeeping in the background, and also our AI will never tell housekeeping department the specific things happen. For example, you got a guest falling down, or you got two guests fighting in the room. To AI, they just tell housekeeping department there's some emergency happened there. They will never tell you the detailed things. So do no evil is very important. It's a kind of philosophy in our company that we have our bottom line, which is very, very important. And also, we sell this technology not only in China. We just sell this technology global wide. And we all know that in Europe, they have a very strict GDPR law for that, and we will 100% strictly follow that law and try to protect the human's privacy. This is the things we are doing right now. But just like you said, it's just like a kind of, it's a sword, okay? It's a knife, and people can use it in different way. It can cut the vegetables, it also can cut human beings. So I think do not tell. I think one very important thing is never let AI make the decision. Human being itself, ourselves, we need to have a regulation for that, because AI is a machine. They will never know which is right, which is wrong. So the very important thing is that we ourselves must behave ourselves. I think the same thing. We have the same thing in the automatic drive case, so the way they handle right now in the kind of emergency situation, they just gave the control rights to human being again. This is all the this automatic driving company they are doing right now. So I think that the point is human being ourselves. It's not AI.
We control.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think whether it's AI or any new technology being introduced, there are always going to be uncertainties, as well as different stakeholders. They are also learning, pick up their learning, particularly with regulatory bodies, the government, right? So, so I think when we talk with the founders of the startups, one of our assessment is their overall sort of comprehension about not only their own technology and product, but also their impact in the space, and whether they are not necessarily 100% prepared, but ready to address some of those issues and challenges when it arises, right? So, for example, some of the AI company, if they are doing a lot of public sector work, so in their talent roadmap, they tend to talk about people with a strong kind of past interaction with the government on regulatory issues, how to potentially even being the opinion influencer, because those regulation has not been defined yet. Right, so it's a great opportunity for the companies to try to influence, obviously for the good, right? But if it's a startup company, the founder, they may be overly passionate about the technology and overlooked the surrounding issues, right? And that's a kind of a red flag to us. The long-term viability of this venture, right?
And also, I think people will grow up. I mean, just thinking about right now, our compared with 100 years before, people's idea, people's regulations are totally different. We don't have internet, we don't have big data 100 years before. But right now we have it, and a lot of young people just love to live with that. I have a lot of young engineers. They like to share everything about their privacy details, in their WeChat or in Weibo. People's idea about the privacy is also growing up. It's changing. So maybe in future we'll have a different kind of idea about that. I don't know.
I think that's where for the startup company, it may be a little bit too much ask for them, but if they want to excel, they need to be prepared, one step ahead, right? Like the drone company I mentioned in our portfolio. I mean, yeah, there are people say, well, what happened if it's being used by terrorists and those kind of things. So you have to be proactively, to have open dialogue with the CAA and all these, right? So what technology you can do to detect if such a situation happens and prevent it from happening, right? So that's a pretty big requirement putting on the management team of the startup. And it's not just that you heads down to your product and everyone will love you, right? I mean, it's because it's not like a traditional product that's been used for 30, 40, 50 years.
Because there are definitely some people or like some, I don't know, in this world that would abuse by using this technology.
Absolutely. There are always people like that,
Yeah. So I guess what set of values should AI be aligned with to maintain this beneficial legal and ethical outcomes? Like what kind of values should we put out? Yeah.
It's also a big question. Just like Richard said, it's a little bit too hard to have it for a startup company, Actually, for a startup company, I think we are focused on first to landing our technology first and see what's going on. And then we, just like I said, we're growing up together with this technology and with these ethical and other regulations together. So, just like I said, it's too big, and we have every day we have thousands of things need to handle. Maybe yes, it's a priority, but it's not so high priority to us. At least I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, for sure. Totally understand.
Yeah.
I think it's also it requires a collaboration, right? I mean, the startup obviously have a role because they are the ones sort of driving the new technology, but then they need to work with let's say whatever whether it's healthcare or agriculture, the different industry stakeholders, and also government, and also for large enterprise like Microsoft, right? Which has a much bigger cloud. So that kind of a thing is, and if all these different stakeholders they work together, and you hopefully will push forward the positive change, and everyone will benefit, right?
Yes, and I think it's very important that all the countries in the world should reach a common view, right? Just like we have common view to protect the environment. So for how to use AI, we also need to reach some common view in the whole world. So the whole society, especially the government, can put more effort to monitor, to control.
Mm-hmm. So what values would you hold on to when you were doing your product in your company?
We think currently AI has different levels, and also we can use AI technology with different priorities. For example, we can use the technology to help impaired people, and we can use technology to help the labor works to release the repetitive work, and also we can help people to increase the efficiency. All these work has a higher priority for us, I think. We think we should avoid to try to enter some dangerous areas such as the AI for military, something like that. We believe there's more areas that AI has much more value, and for example, we are trying to help vision impaired people.
Suddenly have another idea is that just because AI right now is just the way that you're handling big data. So when we call it big data, it means there's really a massive of data there. It's too big. We all know that's too big. It's not so easy to be, widely used, Even the people who collect these data, they will never know what's going on there. 95 to 96% of these big data is useless. So at least right now, it's the things is like only the things happen. You will go back to check this data to find out what's going on. The human being itself we don't have this ability, to widely to use this data without any rules. At least right now, we don't have this ability to do that. So to worry about that things is a little bit too early to me, because the data itself is too big.
Yeah, that brings me to think of a really good question. So what is the future of AI? Like, how do you foresee the future of AI? And how do you or your company think your company would evolve as the AI technology develops?
Well, just like you have a drop of water, and finally you collect all the waters, all the drops, then you have an ocean. So right now we are at a stage that we collecting drops. So in Chinese we said once you got the enough quantity, then you have the quality. I mean, the things will change, the quantity will change. Just like what I said, we're so far from there. What we do right now is to build a baseline for the future AI. Definitely in future, after 20, 30 years, AI will help people to do a lot of things, and we are having very high level AI can help people to do a lot of things. And I believe that at that time we will have the law and the regulations, especially for AI at that time, but not now. And if human being want to be more, logic, if a human being want to be more advanced, and you will never forget the help from the AI. You will always need to find a good way to working with the machines. It's very important for human being. It's also kind of evaluation of human being itself. In future, probably we'll having half machine, half AI, and half human being. The people like that. So just like in the science fiction movies,
Yeah, I think maybe the future is there's really no so-called AI company, because AI is really embedded. It's everywhere, right? I mean, it's like for example, if you open a bread shop, right now, let's say on average, a certain shop needs 3 shop assistant. But if it's using AI-based computer vision automated checkout, you only need 1 person, right? So it's kind of, it should be embedded in a lot of a business process. But coming back again, if it's AI is the right technology to solve the real business problem, delivering much better value, so it will stay. If it's only solving some fantasized business problem, and it will get washed away, right? So it will naturally, yeah, because there won't be buyer willing to put in a commercial value on that. We have experienced the waves of the technology, right, and which future will still come. And some stayed, some sort of did not pan out as expected, right? To me, I think AI will be a fundamental technology building block. And so it's still coming back to, if you're a retail solution company, if you're a manufacturing automation company, but whichever the company can best utilize AI to improve for its own good, right? It will continue to survive, continue to thrive. Yeah.
I think AI has much relationship with robots. And I believe we will enter the robot age in someday, but we still have a long way to go. In this time, we are trying to build the AI's infrastructure, or we are just trying to make some simple application. We wish we can bring some positive cycle for the AI. We can generate some positive result, and then we can have more and more people to invest more in this area. So we are trying to moving forward for that age.
Actually, to me, AI is not is not a problem of the machine. It's a problem of human being. We create AI ourselves, and how to live with that is our own topic. So what I mean is, if human being not changed, then AI may have a chance to replace us, but human being is a very very special spec. So we are a kind of biological creatures that we can really change ourselves. Compare with human being, with other animals, you will find that in the 5,000 years of human being, we changes quite a lot. So I think a human being will find a way to live with the machines together in future. So never worry about that.
I know a story that in Qing Dynasty, and in that times, the people may refuse the railway. So sometimes the new technology may not be understood by the people, or the people may have much concern. But the technology cannot be blocked. Finally, I think that we cannot try to fully control the AI. Technology will continue to grow, and so we will see in the future our children or our children's children, and they may understand how to use AI better.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
If you're hungry for more decoded insights on China's startup and tech landscape, or you've simply been enjoying our talks, good news, we're now live on iTunes. So leave a comment and let us know what you like and dislike about our show, and we will keep improving. Thank you, and until next time on China Innovation Decoded, powered by Microsoft for Startups Shanghai.